How are you guys doing? Today is Tuesday, January 5th, 2021, out here in this quarantine. I'm James Sims, and for this episode of The Elite, I'm going to take you through yesterday's Elite performances from Monday, January 4th, and I'm going to preview everything going on tonight as we progress through what's going on in the world of sports. Starting with the NBA, last night, the Orlando Magic hosted the Cleveland Cavaliers and were able to beat them 103-83 after outscoring them by 20 in the third quarter to get this lead in the first place, and they just kind of ran away with it. For the Cleveland Cavaliers in this matchup, off the bench, their small forward, Cedi Osman, would finish with 18 points, 7 rebounds, and 7 assists in 38 minutes, shooting 6 for 4 from the field and 4 for 8 from 3. Their starting shooting guard, Devon Dotson, would finish with 16 points and 2 assists, or Damian Dotson. And their leading scorer was their starting point guard, Colin Sexton, who'd finish with 24 points, 2 rebounds, and 2 assists, shooting 10 for 19 from the field in 39 minutes. For the Orlando Magic, off the bench, their shooting guard, Terrence Ross, would finish with 15 points and 4 steals, shooting 5 for 13 from the field in 31 minutes and 2 for 7 from 3. Their starting center, Nikola Vucevic, would finish with 23 points and 8 rebounds, shooting 9 for 16 from the field. And their leading scorer was their starting power forward, Aaron Gordon, who finished with 24 points and 11 rebounds, shooting 9 for 17 from the field in 28 minutes and 6 for 9 from 3. With this win, the Orlando Magic are 5-2, which is tied for the second best record in the East with the Indiana Pacers with that record. And with this loss, the Cleveland Cavaliers are now 4-3, which ties them for the fifth best record in the league with the Knicks, the Bucks, and the Atlanta Hawks as it currently stands. Jumping out to Atlanta, the Atlanta Hawks hosted the New York Knicks, and in this game, the Knicks were able to beat the Hawks 113-108 after outscoring the Hawks by 9 in the fourth quarter to overcome their deficit and pick up their fourth win of the year. For the Atlanta Hawks, in this matchup, their starting power forward, John Collins, would finish with 18 points and 8 rebounds, shooting 8 for 15 from the field in 33 minutes. Their starting small forward, DeAndre Hunter, would finish with 23 points in 8 minutes, shooting 9 for 15 from the field in 37 minutes, 3 for 6 from 3. And their leading scorer was their elite point guard, Trae Young, who'd finish with 31 points and 14 assists, along with 8 turnovers in 40 minutes, shooting 9 for 22 from the field, 1 for 6 from 3, and 12 for 15 from the free throw line. For the New York Knicks, off the bench, their shooting guard, Immanuel Quickley, would finish with 16 points in 19 minutes, shooting 4 for 7 from the field and 6 for 6 from the free throw line. And their starting shooting guard, R.J. Barrett, would finish with 26 points, 11 rebounds, 5 assists, and 2 steals, as he shot 10 for 19 from the field in 44 minutes, 1 for 5 from 3, and 5 for 7 from the line. And their leading scorer was their power forward, Julius Randle, who finished with 28 points, 17 rebounds, and 9 assists, shooting 11 for 19 from the field in 43 minutes, and 6 for 8 from the free throw line. With this win, the New York Knicks and the Atlanta Hawks are both 4-3, which is good enough to tie for the fifth best record in the league, tied with the Cavaliers and the Bucks. Both these teams are following this matchup. Jumping out to Philadelphia, the Philadelphia 76ers were able to beat the Charlotte Hornets at home 118-101. In this matchup, the Philadelphia 76ers would take a big lead, especially with their the second quarter where they built up a 12-point lead within the second quarter itself. For the Charlotte Hornets, off the bench, their elite young point guard, LaMelo Ball, would finish with 12 points, 7 rebounds, 9 assists, and 2 steals in 30 minutes, shooting 5 for 16 from the field, 0 for 5 from 3, and 2 for 3 from the free throw line. Their starting point guard, Devontae Graham, would finish with 15 points, shooting 5 for 13 from the field. He used 5 for 11 from 3 in 24 minutes. And their leading scorer was their starting small forward, Gordon Hayward, who finished with 18 points, 8 rebounds, and 2 assists, shooting 7 for 14 from the field in 33 minutes and 2 for 7 from 3. For the Philadelphia 76ers, their leading scorer was their starting small forward, Tobias Harris, who finished with 22 points, 5 rebounds, and 2 assists, shooting 10 for 16 from the field. Their elite starting point guard, Ben Simmons, would finish with 12 points, 10 rebounds, and 6 assists, shooting 6 for 13 from the field in 35 minutes. And their elite center, Joel Embiid, would finish with 14 points and 11 rebounds in 25 minutes, along with 4 steals, or 4 assists, 2 steals, and 3 blocks. He shot 4 for 10 from the field in those 25 minutes, 0 for 3 from 3, but he made 6 of his 8 free throws on the night. With this win, the Philadelphia 76ers are 6-1, which is good enough for them to have sole position of the number 1 seed in the East. And with this loss, the Charlotte Hornets are currently sitting in 12th, tied with the Washington Wizards with a 2-5 record as it currently stands in the East. Jumping out to Miami, the Miami Heat were able to beat the Oklahoma City Thunder 118-90 after outscoring them by 14 in the second quarter and 11 in the third, which is a lead that they could run away with. For the Oklahoma City Thunder, their starting small forward was Darius Bazley at 16 points and 8 rebounds, shooting 5 for 10 from the field in 26 minutes, 3 for 5 from 3, and 3 from 3 from the free throw line. Their leading scorer was their starting shooting guard Shai Gilgeous-Alexander out of Kentucky, who finished with 18 points and 4 assists, shooting 7 for 15 from the field, 2 for 6 from 3, and 2 for 2 from the free throw line. For the Miami Heat, their starting small forward Jimmy Butler, their elite starting small forward, Jimmy Butler, would finish with 18 points, 3 rebounds, and 6 assists, shooting 6 for 12 from the field in 26 minutes and 6 for 6 from the free throw line. Their starting forward, Kelly Olynyk, would finish with 19 points and 8 rebounds, shooting 7 for 9 from the field in 28 minutes, shooting 5 for 7 from the 3-point line. And the Heat leading scorer was their elite center, Bam Adebayo, who finished with 20 points, 8 rebounds, and 4 assists, shooting 9 for 10 from the field in 28 minutes and 2 for 3 from the free throw line. With this win, the Miami Heat are currently sitting at 3-3, which is tied for they're sitting by themselves with the 9th best record in the entire East. They're the only team that's sitting at 500 thus far. And with this loss, the OKC Thunder are currently sitting at 2-4, tied for the 11th best record or the worst record in the entire West, alongside the Nuggets, the Spurs, the Timberwolves, and the Grizzlies as it currently stands. Jumping out to Toronto, the Toronto Raptors hosted the Boston Celtics in a rematch of 2020's Eastern Conference semifinals matchup. And in this matchup, the Boston Celtics were able to beat the Toronto Raptors 126-114 after outscoring the Raptors by 24 in the second quarter alone. For the Toronto Raptors, their elite starting point guard Kyle Lowry would finish with 18 points, 5 rebounds, 5 assists, and 2 steals, shooting 5 for 13 from the field, 1 for 5 from 3, and 7 for 8 from the free throw line. Their elite starting power forward Pascal Siakam would finish with 22 points, 6 rebounds, and 3 assists, shooting 7 for 15 from the field in 33 minutes, 2 for 5 from 3, and 6 for 7 from the free throw line. And their leading scorer was their starting shooting guard Fred VanVleet, who'd finish with 35 points, 8 rebounds, 3 assists, and 2 steals, shooting 13 for 20 from the field in 33 minutes, 6 for 9 from 3, and 3 for 4 from the free throw line. For the Boston Celtics, off the bench, their point guard Peyton Pritchard would finish with 23 points and 8 assists in 32 minutes, shooting 8 for 13 from the field, 2 for 4 from 3, and making all 5 of his free throw attempts. Their starting shooting guard Jaylen Brown would finish with 19 points, 5 rebounds in 34 minutes as he shot 7 for 16 from the field and 4 for 4 from the free throw line. And the Boston Celtics leading scorer was their elite power forward Jason Tatum, who finished with 40 points, 6 rebounds, 2 assists, and 2 blocks, shooting 11 for 19 from the field, 5 for 8 from 3, and making all 13 of his free throw attempts. With this win, the Boston Celtics are currently 5-3, which is good enough to have them sit in sole positions in 4th place all by themselves, as they are half a game behind the 5-2 Magic and the 5-2 Pacers. And then with this loss, the Toronto Raptors are currently sitting at 1-5, which is the second worst record in the entire East, which is half a game ahead of the 1-6 Detroit Pistons at the very bottom of the conference. Jumping out to Houston, the Houston Rockets hosted the Dallas Mavericks, their in-state rivals, and the Dallas Mavericks were able to get their 3rd win of the season, beating the Rockets 113-100 following them outscoring the Rockets by 12 in the first quarter and then 6 in the fourth. For the Houston Rockets, off the bench, their shooting guard Aaron Gordon would finish with 20 points, 5 rebounds, shooting 5 for 12 from the field, 4 for 10 from 3, and 6 for 6 from the free throw line in 26 minutes. Their elite starting point guard John Wall would finish with 14 points, 4 rebounds, and 4 assists, shooting 4 for 10 from the field in 33 minutes, 1 for 3 from 3, and 5 for 5 from the free throw line. Their elite starting shooting guard, James Harden, would finish with 21 points, 3 rebounds, and 10 assists, shooting 5 for 17 from the field, 3 for 11 from 3, and 8 for 10 from the free throw line in 38 minutes. And their leading scorer was their starting power forward, Christian Wood, who'd finish with 23 points and 7 rebounds, shooting 8 for 15 from the field, 0 for 5 from 3, and 7 for 8 from the free throw line. For the Dallas Mavericks, off the bench, their shooting guard, Tim Hardaway Jr., would finish with 30 points in 31 minutes, along with 7 rebounds and 2 assists, shooting 11 for 14 from the field and 8 for 10 from 3. Their starting center, Willie Cauley-Stein, would finish with 15 points, 7 rebounds in 24 minutes, shooting 5 for 7 from the field and 5 for 6 from the free throw line. Their starting shooting guard, Josh Richardson, would finish with 15 points in 31 minutes, shooting 4 for 10 from the field and 5 for 5 from the free throw line. And their leading scorer was their elite point guard, Luka Doncic, who'd finished with 33 points, 16 rebounds, and 11 assists, shooting 12 for 25 from the field in 38 minutes, 3 for 10 from 3, and shooting 6 for 6 from the free throw line. With this win, the Dallas Mavericks are now 3-4, which is good enough to sit them with the Sacramento Kings with the 8th best record in the West. And with this loss, the Houston Rockets are now sitting in 10th place with a 10-3 record as it currently stands. Jumping out into Milwaukee, the Milwaukee Bucks hosted the Detroit Pistons, who were able to beat them at home 125-115 after outscoring them by 7 in the first quarter, 4 in the second, and then 6 in the third. It's just a momentous, or just casually building a lead where the Pistons just couldn't fight back, really. Off the bench for the Detroit Pistons, their former MVP point guard, Derrick Rose, would finish with 24 points and 8 assists in 25 minutes, shooting 9 for 18 from the field, 2 for 4 from 3, and 4 for 4 from the line. And then their leading scorer alongside Derrick Rose was their starting power forward, Jeremy Grant, who would finish with 24 points, 4 rebounds, 3 assists, and 3 blocks, shooting 10 for 25 from the field in 34 minutes and 4 for 10 from 3. For the Milwaukee Bucks, their starting shooting guard, Drew Holiday, would finish with 15 points, 6 rebounds, and 7 assists, along with 3 steals, shooting 6 for 10 from the field in 34 minutes. Their starting small forward, Chris Middleton, would finish with 19 points, 9 rebounds, and 4 assists, shooting 7 for 10 from the field, 2 for 4 from 3, and 3 for 4 from the line. And then their leading scorer was their elite power forward, Giannis Antetokounmpo, who finished with 43 points, 9 rebounds, and 4 assists, shooting 17 for 24 from the field in 36 minutes, 2 for 6 from 3, and 7 for 9 from the free throw line. With this win, the Milwaukee Bucks are now sitting at 4-3 in the East, which is good enough to tie them for the 5th best record in the conference with the Knicks, the Cavaliers, and the Hawks. And with this loss, the Detroit Pistons are sitting at 1-6 at the very bottom of the league, half a game below the 1-5 Toronto Raptors. Jumping out to New Orleans, the Pelicans hosted the Indiana Pacers, and the Pacers were able to beat the Pelicans in overtime, 118-116, after a very, very close game that was back and forth, but the Pacers were able to get their 5th win of the season. For the New Orleans Pelicans, their starting point guard, Lonzo Ball, he would finish with 18 points and 6 rebounds and 6 assists, shooting 7 for 11 from the field in 38 minutes and 4 for 6 from 3. Their elite starting small forward, Zion Williamson, would finish with 24 points, 10 rebounds, and 2 assists, shooting 9 for 19 from the field and 6 for 8 from the free throw line. And their leading scorer was their elite small forward, Brandon Ingram, who finished with 31 points, 4 rebounds, 8 assists, and 2 blocks, shooting 12 for 31 from the field, 1 for 6 from 3, and 6 from 6 from the foul line, as he led the entire game in scoring. For the Indiana Pacers, their starting power forward, Miles Turner, would finish with 17 points in 23 minutes, shooting 7 for 11 from the field. Their starting power forward and former All-Star Domantas Sabonis would finish with 19 points, 11 rebounds, and 7 assists, shooting 9 for 16 from the field in 35 minutes. Their starting point guard, Malcolm Brogdon, would finish with 21 points, 7 rebounds, 11 assists, and 3 steals, shooting 8 for 18 from the field in 46 minutes, 4 for 9 from 3. And the leading scorer was their shooting guard, Victor Oladipo, who finished with 25 points, 5 rebounds, and 6 assists, shooting 8 for 17 from the field, 5 for 11 from 3, and 4 for 6 from the free throw line. With this win, the Indiana Pacers are now sitting at 5-2, which ties them with the Orlando Magic for the second best record in the entire East. And in the West, with this loss, the New Orleans Pelicans are currently sitting in the 5th spot, tied with the Warriors with a 4-3 record on the season. And speaking of the Warriors, the last game of the night was hosted by the Golden State Warriors as they hosted their no-Cal rivals, the Sacramento Kings. And in this game, the Golden State Warriors were able to beat the Sacramento Kings 137-106 after outscoring the Kings by 17 in the first quarter. A lead that they basically ran away with as they outscored the Kings in every quarter. For the Sacramento Kings, their starting point guard De'Aaron Fox, who finished with 18 points, 4 rebounds, 7 assists, and 3 steals, shooting 7 for 17 from the field in 31 minutes. And their co-leading scorer was their small forward Harrison Barnes, who'd finished with 18 points and 9 rebounds, shooting 5 for 12 from the field, 1 for 5 from 3, and 7 for 8 from the free throw line. And for the Golden State Warriors, their starting small forward, Andrew Wiggins, would finish with 16 points, 3 rebounds, and 5 assists, shooting 7 for 15 from the field. Their starting small forward, Kelly Oubre Jr., would finish with 18 points, 3 rebounds, 2 assists, a steal, and 2 blocks, shooting 6 for 11 from the field in 26 minutes, 4 for 6 from 3. And their leading scorer was their goated point guard, Steph Curry, who'd finished with 30 points, 9 rebounds, and 8 assists, shooting 9 for 18 from the field in 31 minutes, 5 for 12 from 3, and making all 7 of his free throws. With this win, the Golden State Warriors are now 4-3, which is good enough to tie them with the Pelicans for the 5th best record in the West. And with this loss, the Sacramento Kings are now 3-4, tying them with the Dallas Mavericks for the 8th best record in the West as it currently stands. And looking forward to today's matchups in the NBA. Starting off with the mainstream matches because, of course, today is Tuesday. At 8 o'clock, the 2-4 Memphis Grizzlies host the 5-2 defending champs, the Los Angeles Lakers, on NBA TV. And following that at 10:30, the 3-3 Portland Trailblazers host the 3-4 Chicago Bulls on NBA TV. At 7:30, the 3-4 Brooklyn Nets host the 4-2 Utah Jazz. At 9 o'clock, the 2-4 Denver Nuggets host the 2-4 Minnesota Timberwolves. And at 10 o'clock, the 5-2 Los Angeles Clippers host the 2-4 San Antonio Spurs. So that's what the NBA is currently looking like. Jumping out into college basketball from yesterday's game, the only ranked opponent that played yesterday was 14th ranked West Virginia. They were able to go into Oklahoma State and pull out an 87-84 win after outscoring Oklahoma State by 13 in the second half. Derek Culver would lead the way for West Virginia, finishing with 22 points and 19 rebounds as Cade Cunningham, the potential number 1 pick for Oklahoma State, finished with 25 points. With this win, West Virginia is now 9-3. They are 2-2 in the Big 12. And with this loss, Oklahoma State is now 7-3. All 3 of their losses coming in the Big 12 as they are 1-3 in the conference. Looking out to today's matchups, starting at 7 o'clock, 18th ranked Texas Tech is going to host unranked Kansas State on ESPNU. At 7 o'clock as well, 19th ranked Clemson is going to host unranked NC State on ACC Network. At 8 o'clock, 4th ranked Texas is going to host unranked Iowa State on Longhorn Network. At 9 o'clock, unranked Mississippi State is going to host 13th ranked Missouri. At 9 o'clock on ESPN2, 23rd ranked Michigan State is going to host 15th ranked Rutgers. At 10 o'clock, unranked TCU is going to host 6th ranked Kansas. And those are the big matchups from today. And then finally, last but not least, looking out to what's going on in the world of soccer. Following yesterday's Premier League matchup between Liverpool and Southampton, Southampton was able to score in the second minute, and that was the only goal of the entire game. It was good enough to move Southampton up to 6th in the Premier League, as they are currently 4 points removed from the top of the table with the same amount of games played as Liverpool. And with this loss, Liverpool still continues to sit at the top of the table with Manchester United, but they've only played one more game, opening the window for Manchester United to squeak past them for the Premier League lead as it currently stands. And looking out to today's matchups, starting off with the Carabao Cup, Tottenham Hotspur is going to host Brentford as they seek to advance past this round. That's the only really, really big matchup. That's what's going on today, Tuesday, January 5th, 2021. I want to thank you for listening to all 19 minutes of this piece. I hope all is well, and then I'll catch you tomorrow following tonight's NBA matchups. And, of course, the Heisman ceremony is going to be tonight, too, as it looks as though Devontae Smith, the wide receiver from Alabama, along with Mac Jones from Alabama, Kyle Trask from Florida, and I believe and probably Trevor Lawrence from Clemson are all up for the same award. I'm probably going to report on that tomorrow as well. But with that said, I want to thank you once again for listening to my piece. I hope all is well, and I'll catch you tomorrow. Peace out.